You'll notice after he finishes the Malachi and Elijah section, notice what came next, verse 40. In addition to these, he quoted the 11th chapter of Isaiah, saying that it was about to be fulfilled. Brothers and sisters, if you look at Isaiah chapter 11, this is an amazing section of the Old Testament where Isaiah is describing how in chapter 10 the haughty are going to be humbled, and God is going to cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and Lebanon shall fall by a mighty one. He's using this beautiful symbolism of a tree, that you have this tree, this mighty tree that gets cut down. It's felled. And what you're left with is a stump. And in chapter 11, if you look at this, symbolism is beautiful because it can have multiple layers of potential meaning. And at one of those layers, you get the idea of Israel getting carried away captive into Babylon, or the 10 tribes carried away captive by Assyria back in 721 BC. And it looks like it's been lopped off and there's no more growth, no more fruit. It's carried away. And we don't know where God went with those branches and grafted them in or planted those branches in other parts of the vineyard, because all we see is this. And then you look at chapter 11. It says, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. So here's this tree that looks cut off, dead, but all of a sudden there's going to be something growing out of that that's going to come forth. And it's that promise that Moroni tells Joseph is about to happen. Something new is going to grow here. Notice, verse 2, the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, and the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge, and of the fear of the Lord. In section 113, way later on in the year, we'll get to this. It's a question and answer period where Joseph is asking a couple questions about Isaiah. This is one of them. Who is this that's growing out? And the Lord answers, it's Jesus. It's the Savior himself who's going to grow forth out of the root of Jesse. And by the way, some of you are probably wondering, well, Jesse, who's Jesse? And what is this root? The root coming out of Jesse. Well, Jesse, if you go back to the Old Testament, happens to be the father of some sons. One of those sons is more famous than the others. It's King David. So we know that the Messiah is going to be a descendant of David. That is Jewish tradition, that the son of David is going to fill the throne of David and restore the kingdom. So you can see, as God is starting to fulfill these Old Testament prophecies, how Joseph Smith is going to fit in here. And if you want to jump ahead, you can go and read section 113 and combine it with your study of Isaiah chapter 11 of these different elements surrounding the house of Jesse, or the family of David, descendants of David. So as we jump back into verse 40, after talking about Isaiah chapter 11, he says he quoted also the 3rd chapter of Acts, 22nd and 23rd verses, precisely as they stand in our New Testament. And he said that that prophet was Christ, but that the day had not yet come when, quote, they who would not hear his voice should be cut off from among the people, but would soon come. If you look at Acts chapter 3, the wording here in verse 22 and 23, he says precisely as it appeared in the King James Version. For Moses truly said unto the fathers, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me, him shall ye hear in all things, whatsoever he shall say unto you. Brothers and sisters, hear him. Comes up here. This is Jesus. And it's interpreted by Moroni to say the prophet that is spoken of in Acts 3, that Moses prophesied of, is Jesus. Verse 23, and it shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear that prophet shall be destroyed from among the people. Now that's interesting, because this is coming from Acts. Luke is writing this account after Jesus has been crucified and resurrected. And he's speaking about it in future terms. It shall come to pass. That's in the future from right here. That every soul which will not hear that prophet shall be destroyed from among the people. Moroni is verifying he's speaking of people in the latter days who are going to either reject or accept the Savior. I love the way Taylor described it last year of this cutoff, that the Lord is extending the arms of his love and his mercy and his power and his knowledge to all of us to come in to the fold and to be embraced by him. But if they choose not to, what's the result? They're cut off from that power that is offered to them so freely and so warmly.